With that said, let's wrap it up with this. It's Tuesday. We haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. Aaron Rodgers was in town last Tuesday. Obviously, don't have time to do Overreaction Tuesdays when Aaron Rodgers is in town, but we're doing them this week. It's Overreaction Tuesday. I'm fired up. Let's get it kicking.
It's a fine line between, drinking wine and squashing grapes, as we say in this business, and sometimes it's very subtle.
Sometimes it's very subtle. Jacob, I know you got a couple for me. I'm excited for them. Let's get them kicking. What do you got?
All right, let's talk about the man of the hour again for just one quick second. Deshaun Elliott, fresh off a new contract. I think it's fair to say, maybe you'll disagree, maybe you'll think it's an overreaction. I think it's fair to say that Deshaun Elliott will set another career high in total tackles in the 2025 season. 108 in the 2024 season is the current career high. I think he's going to get 110 or more.
Whoa. All right. Oof. That's such a crazy number. 110. Like, you got to imagine Deshaun Elliott had 111 attempts last season to get 108 tackles, which is absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. But I'll say this. I think he is going to be better. I think he's going to be more comfortable. I think Juan Thornhill is going to allow him and Minka to do more. And because of that, I think he's going to be even more dangerous. The one thing that pulls me back from this is that Juan Thornhill is also very good. And while I think DeMonte KZ is good, I think Juan Thornhill is better. I also think that Peyton Wilson's going to be better. I think Cole Holcomb is going to be an upgrade to that room. I think Patrick Queen's going to be better. I think the defensive line's going to be better. And that is a lot of people going for tackles that Deshaun Elliott is supposed to be cleanup duty as a safety was getting last season. So I'll say this. I don't think it's an overreaction. Okay. I think it's a fair reaction for sure. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But I think that's only because the Steelers defense is going to be better and there's going to be less opportunities. But an overreaction to say Deshaun Elliott gets even better than last season, I wouldn't be stunned at all if we are just getting to the beginning of what Deshaun Elliott can be in the NFL. I'm going to say that one's not an overreaction.
All right. So maybe the total tackle number might be a little bit far-fetched part of that, but I think we're in agreement for the most part. I want to stay with defense real quick, and then we'll shift over to offense for just another couple of overreactions from Jakey over here. My favorite rookie on the defensive side of the ball, like everybody else's, is Derek Harmon, of course. I think Derek Harmon has the potential to impress, so much so that he's already been named the quote-unquote starter in the base package, as we talked about the other day. That aside, I think it's possible that Derek Harmon plays his way into a full-on starter role, 3-down type of role. He could end up playing more snaps than Keanu Benton. What says you about that?
Man. I knew this was coming at some point. I did. Like, I knew it's inevitable. You can't not ask the question of, is Derek Harmon, first-round pick Derek Harmon, going to surpass Keanu Benton? And while Keanu Benton is a stud, and he's a second-round pick that is going to be here for a long time, and he's going to be a key component to this defense for a long time, no. The answer is no. I would not be surprised at all if the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the end of the season, had a sub-package, and their primary sub-package was Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon with Keanu Benton coming off the bench. It would not surprise me at all. But I'll say this. It is not a downgrade for Keanu Benton. It does not hurt the progression of Keanu Benton. It simply means the Steelers have a first-round draft pick in Derek Harmon, who looks like a dude, who played like a dude in college, who comes in here with pro readiness right off the bat, who they believe is going to be an absolute monster from day one. Okay? I think because of that, it is simply, you just don't keep your best players off the field, and that's what Derek Harmon might be. It sucks because, like, it almost feels as if you're like disrespecting Keanu Benton by saying that, but it's so crazy to believe that Derek Harmon is a higher draft pick than him and has higher expectations in his NFL career than Keanu Benton with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to go, that is not an overreaction. I could see it happening. And if I had to guess, I think it's gonna, to be really honest.
Wow. Wow, I thought that was honestly kind of like a spicier overreaction for you. Clearly it was. It's not. I think there's maybe some writing on the wall emerging because anyone who was there, who saw minicamp at all or was like seeing clips about it, like there is just something indisputable about Derek Harmon. So we'll see where that goes. I have a few more. Were there any? I didn't see if there's a bunch in the comments, and I don't know where we're at.
No,
on
keep
time.
them trucking. Keep them
All right,
trucking.
I got a few more, but we're gonna go to the offensive side of the ball. I know we talked about Aaron Rodgers. We don't talk about him enough. Let's talk about this upstart, scrappy quarterback who might make a name for himself with the Steelers this year.
Yeah.
Interceptions are something I thought about a bunch. I think you and I are kind of split on the potential for Aaron Rodgers to throw interceptions in the 2025 season. He's very good historically at protecting the ball and not taking turnovers. I will absolutely concede that. Here's my take.
Okay.
I think if the over-under on Aaron Rodgers' interceptions for the 2025 season is 9.5, I'd take the over 10 times out of 10. I think he's going to have... Yep. I think we're going to see double-digit interceptions from Aaron Rodgers again. And I think it's going to be a repeat of last year. It's not going to all look horrible, but it's going to be more than people are used to and historically describe Rodgers to be in terms of his accuracy.
Aaron Rodgers' career high in interceptions is 13. I believe he's got, and I'll look this up for certain as we sit here, I believe he has 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, with over 10 interceptions. 4 seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of them's last season. I'll be honest. One of them is last season with 11. The one thing that Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks do not do in the NFL, throw interceptions. Why? Because Mike Tomlin doesn't let them. That is rule 1 in Pittsburgh, is do not turn the ball over. Because if you turn the ball over, you lose games. That's how Mike Tomlin looks at it. And Mike Tomlin doesn't care about winning the Super Bowl in October. He cares about going 1-0 and then 2-0 and then 3-0. And that's what he's going to do. Justin Fields threw 1 interception with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 6 games. That is so far your spiciest overreaction, because I'm going to be honest, that one is an overreaction 10 times out of 10 times.
Yeah.
If you said Aaron Rodgers throws 5 interceptions this season, and I would take the under 10 times out of 10 times, I would say that is closer to being not an overreaction than over 10. There's one thing, again, the one thing quarterbacks don't throw many touchdowns in Pittsburgh these days, but true. They don't throw many interceptions. And Kenny Pickett in 3 seasons had 13. So 2 seasons, 13. And if Kenny Pickett's not turning the ball over, if Justin Fields ain't turning the ball over, Aaron Rodgers ain't turning the ball over, not 10 times. That one, first one of the day, that one is an overreaction.
Word. Oh, I mean, okay. You mentioned touchdowns. Here's like my last one that I really am eager to hear your reaction about. I think let's talk 30 and a half touchdowns.
Okay.
I think he could throw more than that. I would take the over, not 10 times out of 10. But the more I've thought about it, 6 or 7 times out of 10, I would take the over that he could throw 31 touchdowns. I think it's more likely that he throws more than 30 than less than 25.
Oh, more than 30 than less than 25. Yikes. You might get me again. Look, I might be optimistic that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to turn the ball over, but old man Aaron Rodgers coming in here to gunsling his way to 30 touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns. That being said, let me look up this one, because this is gonna skew my thoughts here. In 2015, okay, Peyton Manning was the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay. But that man won a Super Bowl. But he was awful. The year before that, I mean, he was fantastic. And I wonder where Aaron Rodgers is in that final run here. Okay, where is he? The year before that, Peyton Manning threw 39 touchdowns. I don't know if Aaron gets to 39, but I do like the cause to say 28, 26, 37, 48. He's done this enough times to say maybe. I will say this. I do not think it's an overreaction. And that's only because I think he does get close to 30 before he goes under 25. It's been a minute since Aaron Rodgers has thrown for under 25 touchdowns. And I think at some point, Mike Tomlin's going to say, okay, here you go. Let's win some football games. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say the reason I'm confident in this is because I do not think that the Steelers are done adding to their wide receiver room. And I think he's going to have another weapon that is notable that he can use next season. I'm going to say that's not an overreaction. That's a good one. That is a good one. I like that one for sure. All right, we got a couple for you. I got a couple for you as we go here. Egyptian Roughneck overreaction. Darnell Washington is better than Zach Gentry. Overreaction or not?
No, not the underreaction.
Underreaction for sure. Darnell Washington.
Dog.
I liked Zach Gentry. Okay, he was cool.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah, not that great. Not funny, hilarious, super nice guy. Really appreciated who Zach Gentry was. Darnell's way better. way
already
better.
a better blocker, more dominant at the line of scrimmage, and
Yes.
I would imagine has more yards after catch than Gentry did in his whole entire career. So
yes, I agree. Shout out to Zach Gentry, the quarterback who wasn't. Carl Spackler, your overreaction. Aaron Rodgers will have a better quarterback rating and touchdown to interception ratio than any quarterback in Steelers history. Go ahead. I would imagine that's Ben Roethlisberger. I'll look it up as you react there.
I know not everyone watches, but you saw my reaction to reading that from Carl. I think that is an overreaction because I think that would be highly unlikely, but maybe I'm estimating in my mind, my memory of some of the better quarterback seasons that I can recall, or the stats that I can recall. And maybe it is possible, but man, I mean, that would have to be, again, we're just mentioning 30 touchdown season. It would have to be at least, I don't know, a 35 touchdown season with maybe 5 interceptions for it to even, and his completion percentage is, yeah. What did you find before I go any further?
Ben's best touchdown to interception ratio is 33-10. That's his greatest. That's his best ever. Ben threw a lot of interceptions. I don't know, man. He'd be throwing a lot of footballs, a lot of footballs. I would say overreaction. However, I mean, I don't think it'd be surprising to throw 30 and 8. I mean, that fits your mold a little bit. It fits my mold and your mold with the 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I don't, maybe it might honestly not be an overreaction. Honestly, might not.
Maybe my reaction was an overreaction.
That's what I'm saying. Pittsburgh Hornets overreaction. The Steelers will have more than 10 sacks over Boswell's total field goals for the season. That's wild. I mean, maybe.
I think that's more likely because the goal is for them to be slightly less reliant on Boswell. The goal is to get past the 40-yard line and the 35-yard line, more than twice per game in the 2025 season. So ideally that kind of erases the need for Boswell, but 10 sacks over. 10
sacks over. Boswell had 41 Boswell had 41 field goals last season. The Steelers had 40 sacks.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Listen, once they get Trey Hendrickson in the building and they start kind of getting him into the system and they just have 38 sacks from everybody, then they'll have more, 10 more than Boswell makes field goal. Wow. Yeah, overreaction. Sorry, Pittsburgh Hornets.
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. American Steel here. Overreaction. Pizza is better than baked CD because it's more versatile. This one's obviously true. I mean, anybody arguing against this one? What are we doing?
What, Nuzidi now?
Nuzidi? All right, Alexander here. Overreaction. Steelers won their 7th, and Aaron Rodgers wins his 3rd MVP. It'd actually be his 5th MVP of his career. Overreaction or not?
Oh, yeah, overreaction. I'll be shocked.
That's what an overreaction there. I will say, yeah, I don't think what's less likely is probably the MVP. Just to, what you'd have to do, what he'd have to do in Pittsburgh would be crazy. But I agree with you. And then we'll round it off with this one. Enigma After Dark. Overreaction. Rodgers comes here and surpasses Ben all time in passing yards as a Steeler, which I don't even know if that's I would guess that's possible, potentially.
Is it within 3,500 to 4,000 yards? Then I think we have to have a conversation about it, right? Like,
yeah, all-time passing list in the NFL. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers is. Oh, he's probably gonna do it. Aaron Rodgers is just about 1,200 yards away. Just about, I'd say less than that, about 11 and a half.
He's gonna do it then. Yeah,
he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it for sure with no questions asked. That is exactly what's gonna happen, actually. And that story, we should prep that now because it's probably gonna happen soon. So yeah, not an overreaction for sure.
Is that why he came here, you think? I don't think that.
No chance. No,
I don't think there's any like
he's just like, you know what? Screw you, Ben. I don't even know you, buddy, but you know what? Screw off. No, I think that one, maybe not.